Again, remember, the entire civilization is built on keeping the black man and the black woman apart. When I first came out doing the Black Man's Guide back in 1990, people was fighting with me. They was having protests. It was like that thing you saw on there with Kavanaugh. People be outside pushing and shoving and getting us through. It was awful, okay? These are black women. That's what I'm saying.
I got a question specifically for my black people. Y'all don't ever get tired of the gender wars between us? Who does this? Who does that? Who's the reason for this? Who's the reason for that? And we know these situations in our black community as a collective. But why aren't we trying to rise above these scenarios? We're uplifting each other, finding different ways where we can leverage in life, then pull our sister and our brother up. Why are we so busy tearing other people down? Oh, you're not worthy because you got this many kids, or you're not worthy because you don't make this amount of income. You get what I'm saying? All I see on the internet is us tearing each other down 24/7. I'm getting tired of it, man, because at the end of the day, I talk against that stuff. I view people as a collective, whether you black, white, orange, purple, it doesn't matter. And I'm starting to notice these gender wars are getting out of hand. And I see it's the reason why we're so divided. I see it's the reason why we're the least married people. I see it's the reason why we have the highest demographic of single mothers.
Please help me out. Please. How come we never hear about gender wars in other cultures? Like, none of my Indian homegirls be like, yeah, our men ask us to do X, Y, Z and expect X, Y, Z. None of my Italian homegirls. Yeah, like, why is that so big in the black community? Somebody, I know y'all got the answer. Tell me, because I want to know.
There's a silent gender war going on right now in the black community online. Actually, not just online, in person too. There's a gender war going on. I'm not really sure where it started besides the original origin of, the Willie Lynch letters and then trickling down to the government, acting out its plan and all that other stuff. But online, I'm not sure where it started. I think it's like real life met, the internet, met opinions, met trauma, it's so like intricate, right? But it's like you can't say anything about men without women coming. You can't say anything about women without men coming. Like, everybody's overly emotional, overly aggressive, overly just it's overbearing to sit there and watch. Like, I don't know what it is, but you say one thing about the other gender, and they're coming.
Again, remember, the entire civilization is built on keeping the black man and the black woman apart. When I first came out doing the Black Man's Guide back in 1990, people was fighting with me. They was having protests. It was like that thing you saw on there with Kavanaugh. People be outside pushing and shoving and getting us through. It was awful, okay? These are black women. That's what I'm saying. Everywhere I went, it was going on. And they was having town hall meetings about me. The whole thing. They had T-shirts. Right, all that stuff. And the band shirts out of there. I got one, I saved. But at any rate, this went on for about 6 months. And then it took a curve. The women and the men started listening to me. The women and the men start coming to the meetings together and talking and trying to get things worked out. That's when they took me off television. Because the enemy is not going to let nobody put the black man and the black woman back together under no circumstance.
The so-called red pill movement was originally about waking up from societal illusions, waking up from the matrix. But somehow it got hijacked into a hyper-masculine, misogynistic ideology. And unfortunately for many black men, it became a very real reaction to a very real pain. The pain of fatherlessness, the pain of betrayal, the pain of systemic emasculation, social invisibility, and economic struggle. See, but the thing is, instead of healing that pain, the red pill movement weaponized it. It took vulnerability and turned it into venom, especially towards black women. See, the thing is, the red pill movement tells black men, don't be a simp. High value men don't chase women. Women are hypergamous and can't be trusted. Never prioritize a woman. Get money, grind, and stay cold. That's what the red pill movement teaches men. It reduces relationships to power games, a war of leverage, not love. And more specifically for black men, the message becomes, Oh, you don't owe black women nothing. She didn't support you. She didn't love you. Why are you protecting her? But the thing is, that narrative is bullshit. And that framing is not only toxic, it's historically inverted. Because before the programming of white supremacy and gender wars, black love was sacred. Black men protected black women, not out of submission, but out of duty. Black women stood beside black men during every form of oppression, from slavery to Jim Crow to mass incarceration and beyond. So when you realize that and you recognize that, you will quickly realize that this idea of loving a black woman being a weakness is a lie. That lie was planted to divide the pillars of the black family. There's a saying, if you can convince a man that love is weakness, you can make him into a weapon instead of a healer. And that's what's going on. Because at the end of the day, a real king doesn't dominate his women or his woman. A real king uplifts her. Because a real king knows that power without love is tyranny, that leadership without service is ego, and masculinity without compassion is empty performance. But the red pill ideology says your worth is in how little you care, and that you're supposed to keep her chasing, keep her suffering, so that you can stay in control. And that is not masculinity. That's just fear wearing a fitted cap. And the fallout, the consequences of this red pill movement are obvious. Black women feel unprotected, feel unloved and unsafe, not just from society, but from their own men. They are called masculine for being survivors, for actually surviving. Their softness is buried under armor that was built from betrayal. And many black women feel like they don't even have a place to rest, to cry, or even be held. And then the cycle just continues. You got hurt people avoiding each other, blaming each other, rather than healing each other. So what does a real awakening look like for black men as it relates to this red pill movement? I think if you truly want to identify as a red pill guy, or you truly just want to take the red pill, then you have to realize it's not about dominance. It's about waking up from the colonized mindset that love is weakness and pain is power. The real red pill movement says, I can protect and still feel. I can lead and still listen. I can love my woman deeply. Not because I need her, but because I honor her divinity. It says we are not enemies, we are soul reflections of each other. So in the spirit of reclaiming strength as love, you have to understand that loving black women does not make you soft. Protecting her does not make you weak. And standing beside her does not shrink you, it expands you. The strongest black men in history, from Malcolm X to Martin Luther King to Fred Hampton to even your grandfather, these men loved their women with full hearts and fearless hands. They didn't get seduced by bitterness, and they weren't afraid to serve love as warriors. At the end of the day, the red pill movement stole the pain of black men and sold us a blueprint for loneliness. And now it's time to take the real red pill, to heal, to see clearly, and to rebuild the spiritual bond between black men and black women. And not from a place of control, and not from fear of being hurt again, but from the truth, which is, we are each other's keepers. We are not weak for loving each other. We are divine for it.
The real reason that men and women can't get along is because we've been programmed to want things from each other that the other was never programmed to give. From childhood, girls are fed Disney fantasies, raised to expect Prince Charming and grand gestures and unwavering chivalry. But boys, they're socialized in a completely different way. While women dream of love letters and candlelit dates, men are conditioned on porn and raunchy comedies like American Pie, National Lampoon, other locker room talk to see women as sexual conquests, not partners. This creates a brutal mismatch. Women want emotional intimacy, but men were never taught how to provide it. Men expect sexual accessibility, but women were raised to equate desire with shame. Here's where it gets messy, because of course there's a bit of a power imbalance because of patriarchy. Society tells women to be pure, but also be sexy. Play hard to get, but don't be too stuck up. Men only want one thing, but also your worth depends on their attention. Women conform, getting BBLs, lip filler, waist trainers, to fit the hyper-sexualized idea that men are taught
to crave. But then when they do give men what they want, they're labeled whores, sluts, and easy. Meanwhile, men are just as trapped. They're starved of affection because women don't trust their intentions. They're demonized for pursuing sex, even though that's the only version of male desire that society celebrates. We're not just failing each other, we're failing society itself. When men and women are raised on opposing scripts, women expecting romance, men chasing conquests, create generations incapable of genuine partnership. This isn't just about bad dates or hurt feelings. This is a systemic collapse. Marriage rates are free falling because neither side trusts the other to meet their needs. Birth rates are cratering because raising kids under those circumstances seems impossible. Loneliness is epidemic as men drown in isolation and women grow exhausted, carrying the emotional weight of relationships on their own. This is what happens when socialization is broken from the very start. We feed young boys porn and then shame them for the sexual appetites that it grows within them. We sell girls fairy tales and then act surprised when they resent real men for not being princes. We've institutionalized misunderstanding. The ripple effects are everywhere. A dating pool full of resentful women and defensive men. This is the hidden tax of failed socialization. Every time we tell a boy men don't cry or a girl that her value is in her purity, we are wiring society for dysfunction. We are creating adults who see each other as problems to be managed, not partners to build with. The solution isn't more gender wars, it's better wiring. We need boys raised on emotional intimacy, not sexual bravado. Girls taught self-worth beyond male validation. Media that shows healthy relationships, not just toxic tropes. Till we fix how we socialize each other, the costs will keep mounting. More isolation, fewer families, a society that is completely coming apart at the seams. Gender wars aren't just hurting men and women. They're dismantling civilization itself. Anyways, let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like and leave a comment. I'm genuinely interested in what other people think about this topic because I feel like we are coming to a point where society is literally falling apart and the prime issue is socialization. I will be making more videos about how the real issue with society right now is we are failing at socializing each other properly, and part of that is because of the media. But let me know what you think.
Gender wars are easily one of the dumbest things we have in today's society. Because tell me why it's always men versus women when a real and deep topic is being spoken about. It should be men and women versus the problem. Men and women versus grape. Men and women versus GBV. And for some odd reason, we have convinced ourselves that the world would be a better place without men in it, or the world would be a better place without women in it. And if anything, that's the furthest thing from the truth, because the harsh reality is men and women need each other. I promise you, if we didn't have each other, this world would not be a better place. And sometimes I honestly wonder if we put the energy we put into fighting against each other and put it into fighting together, imagine how much better life would be. But if you're asking for the solution, I think maybe find a group of people that actually agree on this, specifically men and women that can come together, and you could start there, build that community and rise up against problems, and then bring solutions that will make the world a better place. Because like I said, imagine if we put all that energy we put into fighting against each other into fighting together.
If you still participate in gender wars in the year 2025, you are an NPC. Because you mean to tell me we got one side, which is women that say that they hate all men, that all men should die, all men are bad, men ain't shit. Then on one side, we got men saying that all women ain't shit, women are gold diggers, treat women like they property, all women are objects. Like, what, bro? And I just sit back and laugh at this whole thing, too, because we really got people on the internet fighting each other over which gender is better. Do y'all, like, not see how goofy y'all sound right now? Y'all are literally like little kids fighting over a piece of candy. And then the same ones that participate in this stuff talking about, ooh, I hate all men and I hate all women. be the same ones that complain later on talking about why they can't find a good man or woman. And what's funny is y'all don't just talk about the whole thing on social media. Y'all be going on podcasts talking about it, just upholding gender wars. Because at the end of the day, men and women need each other. That is probably one of the main reasons why we was put on earth, so men and women can come together and work together. So if you're one of these radical raging feminists and one of these raging red pillars that talk about how much you hate the opposite gender, put the phone down, get rid of the podcast equipment, and go outside and touch grass.
So there is kind of like a gender war between the men and the women. God, I hope I'm not among. But listen, one thing I'm going to say, I'm not going to say that the women are not guilty of some things. But now the men, speaking to some persons and being in a place where some men, they relax and they chill, the rate at which we destroy, we humiliate, we are always quick to shame our own women from Africa is crazy. Even in the midst of the white women, especially when the way we worship, I feel the way they worship the Western women. Like what? Oh, once you see a successful woman or you see a lady, even some of these ladies on Instagram that are doing really well. Oh, man, this one, I know if you don't follow a person, if you don't follow a manager. What? Like,
Look, I'm just going to say it. Ladies, please stop. And I mean, for the love of God, please stop making videos where you're shitting on men. Like, there's nothing cute about that. There's nothing empowering about degrading an entire gender because of one or two guys that may have hurt you in the past. Like, we literally have an entire system that is trying to control us and instill fear into us. And you are out here creating a gender war. Like, we have bigger fish to fry. And I mean, if you look in my comments, you will see hundreds of comments coming through from men that are just upset and they're hurt. And you're literally doing to them what you accuse them of doing to you. And it just creates this cycle. And it's toxic. And it's not helping anybody. So please do yourself a favor and just stop.
I would not be surprised if we learned 20, 30 years from now that the domestic gender war was inspired by the FBI, just as the FBI gave birth to COINTELPRO back in the 70s and 60s to disrupt and destroy the credibility and success of Black liberation movements. I could very well see where COINTELPRO or something similar to it could have also been invented to turn the Black woman against the Black man and the Black man against the Black woman. The family is an institution, no different than SNCC, no different than CORE, no different than the Panthers, no different than the Garvey movement, no different than the Freedom Riders. But I really do believe that at some point we're going to find out that the U.S. government had a hand in the gender wars and the promotion of it, because I don't think it's a coincidence that this Black male versus Black female gender war is being initiated at the very same time that the U.S. government is pushing transgenderism on elementary Black public school children.
We are in trouble. This gender war is out of control. I make plenty of videos calling out women for their crazy 3 or 4 ways, treating men like all men are the same, giving up on love. And then I call out men for giving up on love and saying women are no good, only want their money, it's no good ones out there, we're giving up on American women, all the stuff, right? And I get the same answer from both genders. They're all hopeless. They all done gave up and they all hate the other gender. We don't need a World War III. We got one. I just feel bad for the future children that are going to be born, because obviously people are not going to get married because they hate the other gender, but they still going to be doing it. So all these children are still going to be born, but they're not going to have a family to rely on. So the cycle is going to continue. And I know that it happens now and children make it with single parents, but those children are going to be messed up because their parents both gave up on love. I am scared for society. And nobody is taking accountability. They both blaming each other. I don't know.
Okay, the Black gender war. That's my main topic on social media. I mainly come on here and talk about what people call red pill content. And I speak, even though it applies to men and women in America, I speak primarily on the Black gender war. And I know a lot of the sisters a lot of them is like, it's all this going on in the world and y'all want to talk about putting down BLK women and it ain't even about that. But yeah, it ain't even about putting down the sisters. I mean, that's part of it because, yeah, ninjas is petty. They did too motherfucking much. And they acting like a motherfucker, like their ass on top of their shoulders. Get my grounding on right now. They acting like their ass on the top of their shoulders. So it is some pettiness to it. But they in the sunken place right now. Most black people are in the sunken place. I'm gonna say 85% of the men and over 90% of the women don't know what the fuck going on. They don't know if they want to assimilate with the system or rebel against it. They don't know, you know what I'm saying, whether they coming or going. And to me, this shit is all connected to the gender war. It's all connected to, and it's really not even a gender war, it's the patriarchy versus the matriarchy. Because we got men and women on both sides of these ideologies. And I'm patriarchal. I believe the man should rule. You know, I don't think that's rocket science. You can look at nature. Men are dominant, superior in nature. We build shit, we create shit, we take shit out. Everything that got to do with this motherfucking physical plane, you got to come through us. Pause. You know? So these women, they have been socially engineered by the powers that be. Like I'm saying, all American women, but I focus on the BLK women. They've been socially engineered to act like they don't need men and act like they superior to men and that they can just use men. And this shit could only happen because it was a third party interference. If we didn't have the powers that be pumping these agendas and motherfucking making shit lopsided in society to favor women, this shit wouldn't happen. Like I just seen something they did in Kentucky to where they just made like paternity 50-50. And now the divorce done dropped by 50% or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, my main topics is the black gender war because these women don't know how ruthless ninjas is towards them because of what they did. They basically betrayed us. Everybody know the story. They betrayed us for the powers that be, sold us out for benefits. I ain't got to go into the details. And they don't want to take accountability. They don't want to pay for what they did. And the black men like myself have become nihilists because of this. That's why you see my name is Agent Smith. He was a nihilist in the Matrix. He wanted to destroy it, you know, because it was broken. Same shit how I'm looking at this. Why the fuck is we finna keep this thing together? Why would we try to heal? Why would we try to form a community out of this shit if it's broken? Bitch, you don't even want to take accountability. So I stay on this shit. And to me, it's a shit to get off the pot. It's a get down or lay down type of scenario. Either y'all gonna take accountability or the dominant men that y'all attracted to gonna ostracize y'all, pick other women, and create a whole new group of people. Like a story in the Bible or the Quran. Everybody don't fucking make it. We gonna get one group that's gonna listen and adhere to the doctrine and say fuck everybody else. So that's why I talk about mainly dating, relationship, gender war type of issues. Because I know it's way more important than y'all think. These bitches think they think if something was serious enough, we gon' say that all this shit was petty and just form like Voltron and be a community. No, bitch. We fucking like, men as a whole hate y'all ass as a whole. Remember I said 85% of the men, 90% of the women is off. You got the top tier on each side of the men and the women that are so high caliber or high value that this shit don't mean nothing to them. Excuse me. they not really suffering. Like me, I ain't really got to suffer. I can get any type of woman I want. Not trying to sound vain, but different type of women like me. They think I'm attractive. So this ain't really for me. You know, I ain't never had problems with women. Only time I had woman problems was when I was in a cell, when I was locked up.
What's up, beautiful and amazing people, guys? In today's commentary, in today's reaction video, we are going to talk about, you know, the black gender war. Remember, guys, it's 25 and it's still searchable. We are still talking about it, and that means that people are really failing to understand why is black gender war really strong in terms of, you know, the black community, not only in America but also all over the world. In this year, April 25, there were massive job losses and it really affected the black women. Imagine, it moved from 5.1% to 6.1%. I mean, what do you expect about that? And I remember that most people were like, you know, the only solution that of how we can overcome all this is to be united. And I don't know, guys, because there is someone who came out and she was like, from way back, you know, the entire civilization thing, the entire civilization story has always been meant or was meant to keep the black man and the black woman apart. I don't know how true that is, but we shall continue following up on her story, because in this particular video that we just watched today, it's a video that she's talking about how she used to hold conferences and telling the black community in America, guys, we need to work together, we need to be one, because the system is actually coming up with several ways to make sure that we are apart, we are divided. So I don't know what you think about that, because so many people believe that, you know, this gender war story only exists in the black community and does not exist in Asian, in Indian, in the white population. Guys, I can tell you, to some extent, I will say, you know, I don't know who came up with this issue or story of a woman should do this, a man should do that, because that does not exist in these other communities. And you know that actually, if we talk about this particular issue in detail, we can see that is one of the main factors that contribute to the gender war, black gender war specifically. So as much as so many black women lost their jobs, I mean, the only thing left for them was to encourage themselves and, you know what, just ensure that they get to have other sources of revenues, you know. Okay, I understand that it was, I mean, black women lost massive more jobs than any other demographic, and it's really unfortunate. It's good to work together, of course, because I believe that it's really hard to be divided when you are already united. And also, it's good to put our differences aside and work together, because, you know, when you work together, it's really difficult for any party, for any system, even if the government forms a system that makes, you know, be apart, then it's gonna be very difficult. So during such times, like in April this year, most black women were like, you know what, guys, we shouldn't panic at all. This particular situation happened to black men in the 1940s. So let's come together, let's gather resources and find other ways, and or rather avenues, to make money rather than depending on the federal government. Anyway, the big question remains, why is gender war loud in black community? Why are we not hearing about it in these other communities? Why only black community, and not only in America, but also in UK, in Africa. In fact, it's extremely loud in Africa. So that question, we really need to answer it. But remember, the remedy of this all is, respect. Once we respect each other, it's really going to be easy. I don't know, but I think this is all myths and misconceptions, saying that it's really hard to hear gender war in other communities, or complaints from other communities. I think it's just a stereotype. My God. And I don't know, some talk about feminism, our sisters, our brother. Okay, I've been made to believe feminism, which is believed to be one of the causes of, these gender wars. Anyway, I don't know if you are that kind of person who believes that civilization was meant to do all this. I don't know if you are those that believe it's the black community who are making themselves, ourselves, who are making ourselves, look kind of, we don't know what we are doing. I don't know if it's the system. I don't know if it's the missionaries. But all in all, the only thing that's gonna solve all this problem is for us to awaken our consciousness and get to understand that it should never be, gender A versus gender B, but gender A versus gender B against the problem, against development and all that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your presence here. I hope you liked the reaction video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.